Hello and good morning. Welcome to this taste challenge. It's still dark, so we're not calling it Dawn Busters. That's over with for the year. I have two 80 proof American blended whiskeys. This is Calvert Extra. Now, there's a Canadian import called Lord Calvert. But if you see Calvert Extra, that's an American edition. United States of America edition. This was introduced in 1963. See if it'll focus. I'll have to turn the light on. It has trouble focusing if it's in the dark. I was going to turn the lamps on anyway, but funny thing about this one, it's 100% whiskey blend. Remember, American blended whiskey is allowed, not required to, allowed to have up to 80% unaged grain spirits in the blend. It's allowed to have coloring added, it's allowed to have flavoring added up to a certain level. This one doesn't indicate any coloring or flavoring, but they're not required to indicate that. In fact, so talk about that in a minute when I get the lamps on. So it pours amber, not really copper. Here's Beam's 8-Star, introduced in 1976, 13 years after. This is a 2014 bottle I was able to finally figure out. It's a liter bottle, and I got it for $9 at Star, legendary liquor store chain in Louisiana. Not technically a liquor store, because we don't really have those. We do have them, but not really too much, because they don't succeed, since every grocery store and gas station can sell liquor if they choose to. But we have convenience stores. And what you really have is convenience stores, or you have liquor stores posing themselves as convenience stores. I think it's a different tax setup. That's why they do it. So Star sells gasoline. They sell milk, chips, aspirin, whatever, even some fresh rice sausage I see people buying, boudin. But the main reason it exists is to sell liquor, and it's a well-known place for all kind of chase down liquors. They get their own barrel picks with their name on it. They do tastings there. I mean, everybody knows what it is. The state of Louisiana knows what it is, but it's allowed, so they do it. Okay, so that's where I found this, in Gretna, Louisiana, that location. Didn't have a price tag. It looked pretty shabby. I figured I could clean it up. I could see it was oxidized, that the color had faded on the gold. Brought it to the counter. The guy said, oh, he thought it over, $9. And I thought, I know that's cheaper than normal, so I'll buy it. Not much cheaper, but a little bit. So $9 for a liter, I'm game, So usually your regular size bottle would be $9.99. So $9 even. It is available in Metairie, Louisiana, not in my town. Of course, we get Jim Beam, as you know. Now, Calvert Extra, I've never seen anywhere in Louisiana except this one bottle at World Market, a famous, not World Market, sorry, that is famous too, but International Market, sorry. International Market in Metairie, Louisiana on Barron Street, a very famous international grocery store. There's food from all over the world. Heinz beans from England, Mexican soda pop, Honduran soda pop, all kind of Asian vegetables and noodles, and they sell international beer and wine and liquor. Okay, so it's a fascinating place. Robert the whiskey scholar, amazed by it, he just couldn't believe it. So then we kept going to more stores, and he said, if I lived around here, I'd go broke. Not because it's expensive, because it's cheap, and he'd keep buying everything, he said. But so that was funny. He loved it. Now, I was in there, and they were renovating the store. They've got it all fixed up now. I mean, it's been there 30 or 49 years, but they did a great renovation. New flooring. They reset all the shelves, different. And I found this bottle set by itself, away from all the liquor, and it was covered with grime. It looked terrible. Unopened. I said, I know what happened. It was probably something that fell off the shelf years ago and it rolled under that little space under the shelves, and it stayed there until they reset the store, and it probably hadn't sold it in 25 years. So I couldn't get over it. I brought it to the counter and it did ring up. She scanned it, it rang up. She said $8.99. I said, I'll take it. I knew I could come home with some warm water and a little soap and clean it up. And I did, made it look presentable because I mean, it looked bad. But I started researching the thing, and it threw me off because it said Claremont, Frankfort, Kentucky, same thing as this bottle. And I know they use an alias name, Calvert Distilling, no such company. Just like there's no Kentucky Springs Distilling. It's owned by Beam. They do this. Sazerac does the same thing, use alias names. But which is allowed as long as it's registered with the US government, which who calls it an assumed name? That's what they call it, an assumed name. Now, another thing that threw me off, it's 100% whiskey. It's not any grain spirits involved in it. It's 100% blended whiskey. No age statement. So why isn't it called bourbon? Why isn't it called, well, because it's no predominance of grain, you see. It might be like 45% corn, 30% rye, and 25% malted barley, or however they chose to blend it. I can't really pick it up. It's so well blended, it just tastes generalized or generic whiskey. So that's allowed. Of course it's allowed. You just can't go above 80% grain spirits, unaged. This is all aged whiskey. This one has 75% grain neutral spirits, unaged. They skip a step called aging and they blend it with aged whiskey of at least 4 years in this particular bottle. Now, if you get the new if you get the new Beams, don't use the word Jim. Don't mess around with Jim. If you get the new Beams 8-star current bottles, it's 80-20, the blend ratio. So they've lowered the amount of straight whiskey, and it's only aged 2 years. Probably 2-year Jim Beam that didn't come out quite right. So they blend it and sell this as an inexpensive mixer, which is exactly what it is. They don't even bother putting it on the website. Okay. But mine is no age statement. So that means the straight whiskeys in this one are at least 4 years old. Okay. So they've cheapened it. Now I'll show you the website and then I'll turn on the lamp so I'm not in the dark. Oh, forgot to hit the button. Show you the website for Calvert Extra. Now you say, wait, here's the explanation. It was introduced in 1963. They even have the exact date, the truck office, like July 3rd, or about, I'm just guessing that, but I could find out. 63 by Seagram's, okay? It was introduced by Seagram's with the liquor company in 1963, which at that time was the world's big liquor company. But they decided, the people that owned it decided out of the liquor business, and they slowly exited the markets. 89. It was really hard. They started kind of breaking it down. But 89, they sold off a bunch of their brands to the Sazerac company. And then they sold a bunch of more stuff to Heaven Hill. I can't remember the year. Then in 94, they sold a bunch more stuff, facilities and everything, to Beam. They said, we'll take it. And then eventually Seagram sold off everything out of business, but the name continues because they sold the rights to the name anyway. But all of their facilities are still up and running, just under different ownership. And here, back to this, Calvert Extra was a Beam product them from 94 to 2015 when they decided to sell off a lot of their what they call lower end brands, and Luxco was glad to buy it, so they picked it up. And so now it's still produced by Luxco and it's bottled in Missouri today. Blended with the finest whiskeys. That's why it was $8.99, because it's the finest whiskeys. Blended and bottled by Calvert in Kentucky. Now notice it doesn't say that it's Kentucky whiskey. It only says they blend it and bottle it there. So could a lot of this whiskey in this bottle come from Indiana at the old Seagram's distillery still in operation? Almost assuredly it is. And probably still is today. Calvert Extra, a true blended, Now they're calling it a blended bourbon. I think that's a mistype or a mistake. It's not a blended bourbon. It says it right on the bottle. You can say 100% blended whiskey. Calvert Extra delivers an incredibly delicious, robust, and quality bourbon. Once again, it's not a bourbon. Get it together, Luxco. And they're owned by the people who own the distillery, MGP, Midwest Grain Products. But anyway, these companies always are making mistakes on their website. I'm telling you, you want to trust what they're saying. They're not lying. They just did it wrong. I'm telling you, they did it wrong. Old Pirate Bourbon says, cheers, friends and community. Arr. Okay, Pirate Bourbon. Now, so that's the reason it's not called bourbon, because it's not a predominance of corn. See, it's otherwise it's the same as bourbon. It's just it has to be 51% corn, and this one is missing the mark on that. But everything ain't the same, so they decided to make it this way. Okay. I should be able to tell American 100% blended whiskey, not bourbon, from a cut blend, cut with the unaged grain spirits. I would think so. This is just like a similar to like a mixto tequila, a mixto. They can have up to 49% non-agave. And they don't even say what the filler has to be. It just says something other than agave. So it could be grain spirits. Who knows? I don't know. I don't make it. Okay, I just know the regulations. Now, if you buy mezcal, it has to be 100% agave of any sort, though. It could be any kind of agave, but it has to be 100%. Can't have filler. Okay, so the reason they calling it blended bourbon is because you know that they probably using bourbon in the blend. Probably bourbon whiskey that they had left over, rye whiskey that they had left over, some malted barley whiskey they had left over, maybe some wheat whiskey they had left over. They blend it together and they sell it, like I said, $8.99 at, well, wherever you find it. I see that Virginia liquor store. They have state liquor stores there. They have it on sale right now. A handle for $12.99. Excuse me, $10.99. You say a handle? A big, yeah, $10.99. That's a deal. Now, so on with it. Smells just like any whiskey you ever smelled. There's nothing special about that. Just that sweet corn aroma. Less here. There's less of an aroma here, but I don't know, because I found that the Beams H-Star did have a, some little nose on it. Let's go with the taste. Cheers. You can't listen to all that write up on these products. They'll tell you how, oh, it's awesome. Even the Beams H-Star, you look at the liquor store websites, it's, oh, it's so wonderful. And you taste it, and it's like, this is not wonderful. It's okay. Even good in some argumentative way. It probably would slot into the B range, but like, B, like not B plus, just B. My friend David disagreed. He said it was more like a D plus. He was highly displeased with it. But like I always tell him, call it as you see it. All right. This is the Calvert Extra, and I'm going to tell you why. Much more oak, charred oak too. A much more dedicated flavor there. So you're getting more, but you're not really paying more. So why not buy it? It's still produced just by different, well, it's actually probably the same people producing it, just under different ownership. Seagram's, Beam, now Luxco, and it probably always did come from that same Seagram's distillery in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Okay, so probably all they ever did was just transfer a paper, a title, right? Like buying a car. Here you own it now. Here you own it now. Here you own it. Now they just bottle it in Missouri today. No big deal. Who cares? There is a cut Calvert. John and Illy found one. We liked it. It's 70-30 blend, 70% grain neutral spirits, 30% straight whiskey. But we liked it. Weren't amazed by it, but we enjoyed it. Okay, when he was living in Georgia. Jason Whitcomb says, good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. So, Beams H-Star has sort of a little corn flour. Got that sweet corn, though, boy, I tell you. These things here, tastes like bourbon that's watered down, and that's basically what it is. Okay, so got it right. If I had a choice, I'd clearly choose Calvert Extra. Sorry, Beam, you didn't make it this time. It's got a more. It is kind of living up to their hype. Yeah, it does taste like bourbon. It isn't, but that's what it tastes like. True bourbon, even though it's not. Disregardless what the company says, they just screwed that up. I talked to Sazerac on the phone one time. Buffalo Trace. The lady tells me, "Oh, we have a lot of blended bourbons like Kentucky Dale." I said, I didn't tell her anything, but that's a blended whiskey. It's not a bourbon. It uses bourbon. So even they're saying to me on the phone, blended bourbon. I'm like, okay. But anyway, if you're going to if you insist on getting an American blended whiskey, and many people do, you might want to just kind of look, see if one says 100% whiskey and pull that one, especially if the price is no different. You're going to get more, and you're not going to probably pay more. Now, in some cases you will, like TX, Rebecca Creek, Redneck Riviera. Most of those, there are some cut ones from them, but most of those are 100% American whiskey blended, and they do cost about 20 something to 30 something dollars a bottle, so they're not cheap. Not super cheap bows like these. All right, Calvert Extra, the clear and present winner. I think I have enough for one more taste challenge. That's debatable, but I think I can manage it. Don't you think? I think I can manage one more challenge with this bottle in about a year. Okay, last comments, and then I'm out. Jay, I really liked your reviews for the Pabst Blue Ribbon, the Anheuser-Busch version. Yeah, thank you. I enjoyed doing it. I went to buy some at my local store, and I only found the City Brewing version. Uh-oh. Yeah, I got Pabst Light at the same store that's brewed by AB. Now, see, that's the question there now. Got to keep that in mind. Is there a possibility that they're only going to send it out to certain areas? Yes, there's a good possibility of that. You may never see the Anheuser-Busch version. At a conference, said, look, these states will get the AB Pabst. These other states going to get the City Brewing Pabst. So there's no way I can tell you what to do on that. I don't know. I'm sorry. Because I'm still seeing both. Just the bottles. I'm looking at bottles. They're saying La Crosse, Wisconsin. Most of the cans saying Pabst, but that's Louisiana. I don't know what the other states are doing. Oh, yeah. So I think it's probably what's going to happen. They're going to be producing it concurrently. I don't really think it was an issue about it didn't taste correct. I think it was just an issue of they weren't able to keep up with production or some kind of question like that. And Anheuser-Busch was hot to make that deal. Some people think they're plotting to take it over. They probably wouldn't. The U.S. government probably wouldn't allow them to take it over. That's the thing. They're claiming they will be a monopoly. But with the current administration, they might say, "Yeah, let them have it. It's free enterprise. Who cares?" So that could. They might see this is a good time to do that. Make that move. So, but I don't know the answer. They do have different cans. The label is slightly different. You have to really look at it. You have to sit down and just look at it. At a glance, when you see it in the store and you glance, it's the same. You say, that's the same can, same bottle. And it does appear that way. When you sit down like I did in this room and you start looking at it very carefully, you say, wait a minute. The ribbon is a different size. It's a darker shade of blue. And even the grains on the label are different. It's still barley and hops, but they're drawn differently. It's a different drawing. They don't put corn syrup on the label. They don't put a bottle of corn syrup. That would be funny, huh? Okay. And they even have different numbering. They have a big number 12 ounces, prominent big number 12. Whereas the City Brewing version doesn't have it on the front. You got to look on the side, or it's real small. So yeah, but I don't mind because AB is superb with the quality control. I believe that too. Yeah, it may be a monopoly. It wouldn't be a monopoly A monopoly would be 100% of the market. Like when you play Monopoly, that's the whole point of the game, to take over the entire board. And I mean, once you get a controlling interest in the board, everybody else is finished. You know, you may as well just stop playing because there's no way they could catch up. They'll be bankrupt. So they got to sell to you. That's the whole point of the game. And that's what the government, US government, used to want to prevent. Say, no, you can't buy that company or you'll have over 51%. See, right now, they're like at 48. They own 48% of the beer market. That's a big percent. But they never let them go above 50. If they bought Pabst, obviously they would be above 50 because Pabst is one of your biggest brand lines. So, but I'm thinking if they want to make that move, this will be the time to make it, because the current administration would probably say, yeah, no problem. I don't know that, but that seems to have been their attitude with other things. So it's all speculation, naturally. So I'm sipping on the Beams H-Star. It's all right product. You're right. It's good. I go with I'll say 8.3. It's good. Not a D. It's not bad. If it was a D, I probably wouldn't even drink it. I could drink it, but I probably wouldn't. I would just dump it out. But I've never had that experience with liquor before. Oh, with beer, yes. Too many times. Yes, Monopoly was a staple growing up. I like getting Park Place, another one next to it, and those railroads. Once you got those two, you just wipe people out, because you know they're going to land on it, and you start putting those houses and those hotels. They finish, and that's what they think Anheuser-Busch would do. But I don't know, man. I think people are too paranoid about those things. But they wouldn't let Kroger and, like, what was the story on the news? They wouldn't let Kroger and Albertsons merge because they would have this big percentage of the U.S. market. But it was only like 17% of grocery stores. And then they were saying, but Walmart had a higher percentage than that, whatever the number was. Already now, currently, Walmart had a higher percentage by themselves without a merger. I'm thinking, well, why they let them get away with it? I say, oh yeah, because Walmart gives a lot of money to people's campaigns, Democrats and Republicans. They cover both bases. No matter who wins, they got them, you know. So did Walmart have something to do with making sure that didn't happen? I didn't say that. I asked the question. But Kroger and Albertsons were not allowed to merge. That was the past administration. You see, they should have made the move starting January 2025, I believe, but it's too late now. Now they're suing each other, claiming the other side didn't do the merger correctly and they were trying to cheat each other. And I'm not part of that. Good morning, Ron. I hope you've been doing well, says Mr. Amazing. Thank you, and I have. Did a lot of beer tasting yesterday. Too many, probably, but I was thinking, I said, yeah, people say, oh, that ain't that strong, 7.2, 7.5. That's nothing. Yeah, that's nothing until you're drinking 6 of them. You'll see how strong it's not. Look what happened with Ice House and Milwaukee's Best Ice. They put it up to 6.9 and the sales went down, down, down. Now they thought, here's what Miller thought, 16. They said, man, these people drink so much, they want more alcohol. Wrong, they didn't. They thought it tasted boozy, nasty, and they didn't like it, and heavy. And I thought the same thing, boozy, nasty, heavy. It wasn't even 1 year, and they went back to 5.9 and 5.5 for Ice House. I saw billboards on the interstate. Ice House, now at 5.5. Milwaukee's Best, back to 5. Actual billboards. I said, you learned your lesson. But they could have kept it around. I don't know why they could have just had Ice House Extra, and like they got the Edge, 8.0 that we can't get anymore in Louisiana. And they could have made Milwaukee's Best Ice Extra, but And these companies they're not too imaginative in a lot of cases. They think very narrowly. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and cheers to Calvert Extra for the easy win. And like I said, I got enough for one more challenge. Now I'm going to turn on the news. Laughing out loud. I've done that before, chasing many beers in a session. But this was all day. Wasn't in there just an hour or two. It was over many hours. But still, it'll catch you. Gotta watch it. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.